Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. We are the Hollow Grumps. I'm Liam.
And I'm Colin.
And we're here, we're back, we're live, baby! But not really.
Not live, but
yeah. To bring you the review of this week's episode of WandaVision, episode 3, titled Now in Color. But before we start, we have to do the obligatory plug for the channel, which you're already on. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you like what you see here for future content. So, Colin, this episode was directed by Matt Shackman. Take it away.
Yeah, so this episode, obviously in the name, kind of gives it away, now in colour, and the end of the second episode. I definitely think everyone's caught on at this point that what they're doing is they're going through the decades of television history or American sitcom history. So basically, they obviously started in the 60s, 50s era, you know. They moved steadily. I think we're in the 70s now. I think that's about as close as we are, because you can see by the style, the fashion. So I reckon the next 2 or 3 episodes could be 80s and maybe even 90s. As an episode itself, I like this one a lot more than I did the other ones. You know, I'm not a big fan of canned laughter. Insert canned laughter here. And I thought that it gave me something to kind of chew on in terms of the narrative, like what is actually happening. Because I have a few theories or a few opinions that I'm kind of curious to feel out about. I might save them for the end of the review in case anyone hasn't seen it. But if you haven't seen it, it's a good episode. Check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think it was a good episode. The thing that I did notice in the opening was too many cooks. Really, they kept singing about cooks and cooking up with Storm, and you know, I thought so. But I actually enjoyed the first two a little bit more than this. But I did really like this episode. I was kind of getting sick of this whole sitcom thing, actually, when I turned it on this morning. I suppose because I was aware of what I was going into, whereas last week I was unsure, so I was a bit surprised when I saw it was basically just a sitcom. But as it moved into the 70s and it became a bit more, the quality was so clear, even though it was in, what's the window frame, you know what they use?
4x3, yeah.
4x3, yeah. I didn't, when it wasn't in black and white anymore, I suppose it no longer looked like much of an old show, more of maybe a behind the scenes type of feature for making an old show. But other than that, no, I did really enjoy it. We saw a couple of the things come true. You know, your one was wearing a certain symbol on her necklace. What was that?
A sword.
A sword! And so Wanda is catching on. Things are starting to make a little bit more sense.
Okay, right. I'm going to do a very quick opinion piece. So, I've had a few thoughts about this. I've let it percolate in the last 20 minutes because that's how long ago I watched it. My theory is that Wanda knows where she is. She's actually constructed in this village. She has constructed her own perfect little world. Now, the thing about Vision is, I think she has Vision's body. And I think that there is still some sentience inside of Vision. He's not just, once you destroy his head, he's gone. Because after all, he is a machine. And if he's anything like Commander Data, you know, one single cell could be enough to bring him back.
Oh no, you didn't have to bring up Picard, did you? Oh no!
But I do genuinely think that I hit my mic. I do genuinely think that that's kind of the idea, because the amount of time they spent showing Vision figuring things out and time rewinding, just because she was in control of it. Like, she's in control. She's the dreamer. He's the dream.
Yeah, I agree with that, because when we were looking at the doctor at the end of the episode saying that nobody can leave, and he was explaining this to Vision, like this is news to him. So maybe that's why, again, in episode 2, we saw when the beekeeper came out, Wanda didn't want to give a chance for Vision to figure out something's not right here. That's why she reset the clock. And Vision didn't seem to be affected by this. He just went back to normal. But we don't know if she remembered that the beekeeper was there. Does her mind get erased whenever anything happens? It's possible as well. It's possible she's controlling her own mind and she doesn't want the game to end, as Jean-Luc would say. No, the other thing about that, I like the way we get to explore this now through Vision's eyes. And I think we saw a bit of that in the trailer. You know, Vision was flying around and he lands beside a car, and then the suspicious woman says to him, "Are you dead? Or sorry, am I dead? Because you are." So that could also play into this thing of Vision being the one that has to figure out what's going on. And on top of that, when that woman from what's her name? I don't know what her name was. The woman that helped her deliver the babies at the end, when she got blasted out through the field, I kind of got the sense that the people on the outside aren't quite sure what they're dealing with in.
They're dealing with like I reckon it's a pocket dimension.
Mm. So what?
And all these people, are in there. They're kind of like, it's like the Truman Show,
Yeah, I got that vibe.
but without,
so.
without the obvious. Without obviously broadcasting it. But these people are put in there to make sure that Wanda and Vision behave, I guess. Uh, the whole thing with the pregnancy, I'm not really sure what the idea behind that is. Is she creating the twins because she was a twin and that's the only reason? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very
That's
interesting
peculiar.
way of exploring her powers, because when this all ends, the more she goes into this, when her kids start to grow up, can she just not let it go? Because if she pulls the off switch, so to speak, does Vision and her newborn children, do they just disappear?
Mm. But also, this is an entirely new reality. So there is the theory that she could be actually using the reality stone to make this like this, because the reality stone does that. Like that is what it does. It bends reality. Now I know she has those powers, but there was talk, weird talk, strange talk, that this might be how the X-Men get brought into it. This might be how we get, because apparently the actor who played Peter Maximoff, Quicksilver from X-Men, is credited as appearing in it, but he hasn't appeared yet. So there are theories that she'll try to bring back her brother, but she'll end up with this alternative Quicksilver, and that'll slowly bring in the X-Men franchise into the MCU. So there is a theory out there that WandaVision is the crossover event, how X-Men get here. Also, there's talk that Magneto's going to appear as well, but unlikely.
He's meant to be her father, isn't he? As in,
Yeah.
in alternate timeline, whatever
Yeah, in the
timeline
comics,
the
yeah.
comics are. Yeah, that'd be a good way of introducing it, because obviously she is tied to the X-Men through her brother Quicksilver.
Well, the thing is, like, the Wanda in the comics destroyed all the mutants. She said no more mutants, and her power was so powerful that she bent reality so that 99% of the mutants were erased. Because what happened with Marvel was they became oversaturated with mutants. Everyone and their uncles was a mutant, and there seemed to be a mutant for everything. So what they did was they kind of dialed it back by having Wanda basically erase all the mutants. So in theory, she could do the exact opposite in the MCU, where she kind of creates them.
And fingers
It's a-
crossed, she will stop around the late 90s, early 2000s, and actually, I suppose the early 2000s, and stop it before X-Men The Last Stand ever happened. This whole nightmare of changing timelines, and they changed it twice.
I don't mind all of that. There's like, not to go on a tangent, but I don't mind all of that because it gave me Logan, and I really really like that movie. So, as if that's kind of the consequence of all those bad X-Men movies, I think it was all worth it, because Logan and Wolverine, the Wolverine movie, were actually really good.
Yeah, the careful thing about the Logan film was it didn't specify which universe it took place in. So they kind of covered themselves that if the reset happened or if it didn't happen, it was so far in the future that it wouldn't matter. So the person calling out to Wanda, who do you think that might be then in the end? Do you think that could be the alternate Quicksilver that we're talking about? Or do you think the people on the outside even know that Wanda is the one causing all of this on the inside?
Oh, I'm sure they know. I'm sure they know. They have considering they have the whole thing set up and it's all centered around Wanda. There's a screen watching her. I can't really speculate on who the person watching Wanda could be. I think I would have recognized the voice if it was it was the other Quicksilver, but I don't know.
And what about the fact that it is Sword, because they're meant to be dealing with extraterrestrial life?
I don't know. Well, it could be sword. It might not be. Also, just quickly, the advert once again had Hydra in it.
Yep.
Just to be. But there was also talk that this had something to do with Doctor Strange as well, and Doctor Strange would appear in some way. So I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of possibilities. I'm excited, and I think anyone out there that's thinking about, or I suppose there's no point of you thinking about it and watching into the review of episode 3. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend to keep watching it to figure out where it's going to go, because it's definitely different, and I think it is a good way to start off Phase 4.
Guys, if you like what you see here, if you actually have any comments, if you have any opinions, we'd love to hear them, because we might use your opinions in our next video. Hint, hint. So if you have any opinions, comment below and we might mention them in the video, just to do something a bit different. So if you like what you see here, if you enjoy what you saw, do hit that like and subscribe button and the bell notification as well, because that lets you know when we put up a video, which is very infrequent. So for the Hologrumps, I've been Colin.
And I've been Liam.
And remember, existence is futile.